sorry.
Are we really redoing it?
Do you want it?
Is it important to you, Ken?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you are important to me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I apologize.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and our guest, Denise and Keith. Today, I'm going to talk about the silent killer. 73 million Americans are affected by the silent killer. As a matter of fact, the silent killer, along with smoking and obesity, are the top 3 components that lead to premature death across the United States. The silent killer accounts for a little under 500,000 premature deaths each and every year. That silent killer is hypertension, better known as high blood pressure. When's the last time you had your blood pressure checked? Well, if you're an employee at American Greetings, you have an opportunity today to get your blood pressure checked via the health assessments here at our corporate office in Jacob's cafeteria. So if you didn't have your health assessment last Friday, or yesterday, or this morning, I would highly encourage and recommend that you take this afternoon as an opportunity to have your blood pressure checked via your health assessment. Blood pressure, high blood pressure, HBP, or hypertension is just that, the pressure, the tension in your arteries. And your arteries are the vessels that carry blood from your pumping heart to your major organs and tissues. Hypertension, or high blood pressure, reading is comprised of 2 numbers, typically a numerator and a denominator, if you will. The numerator is known as the systolic pressure, and this is actually the point where the heart contracts and blood is pumped through the vessels. That is the systolic pressure. The denominator of a blood pressure reading is known as the diastolic pressure, and that is the pressure at which the heart relaxes after a contraction, and the diastolic pressure is actually the lowest pressure point that the arteries are exposed to. A normal blood pressure is a reading of 120/80. However, any reading ranging from 120/80 to 139/89 is considered pre-hypertension. Any reading at or above 140/90 is considered high blood pressure, and it is highly recommended that treatment then occurs. If treatment doesn't occur, it can often lead to heart disease, kidney disease, stroke, brain damage, and even vision loss. So it's very important that treatment is taking action and occurring. As far as recognition, how do you recognize whether or not you have hypertension or the risk of pre-hypertension? Well, one way to recognize it, because there are no common symptoms, is by simply getting your blood pressure measured. One of the common tools used to measure blood pressure is the blood pressure cuff. This is simply, and I'm sure you've all seen this before, it's an instrument comprised of an arm cuff, an air pump, and a pressure reader. What happens is that the arm cuff, is inflated to the point which it stops blood flow within your major artery of your arm. Through using a stethoscope in the inner portion of your elbow, a health practitioner can then note the pressure point at which she first hears pulsation as the arm cuff releases pressure on your major artery. The point at which the pulsation stops is the second reading, or the denominator, the diastolic pressure point, which then captures your blood pressure reading. So that is one way to recognize, right, getting measured whether or not you have high blood pressure. They also have electronic options for doing readings, which is all done manually by machines, which is very convenient and doesn't require a health practitioner to listen for the pulsations of your major artery. So now that you know what hypertension is and you know how to recognize whether or not you have hypertension, what about treatments? So treatment for hypertension mainly consists of medications. There's a lot of medication out there now that can normalize your blood pressure to the point where you're not doing damage to your major organs and tissues within your body. Also, any individual that is diagnosed with pre-hypertension or hypertension should be very cognizant and aware of what they are intaking into their body. So a person with hypertension or pre-hypertension should definitely cut back on the amount of sodium intake, alcohol, as well as caffeine. Also, these individuals should then participate in a more regular exercise routine, as well as, what else do you want to do? What was that? Relax? You want to relax? What else can you do to lower your blood pressure? Eat good food, improve your diet, exactly. So I think everyone's well aware of how to respond and react to hypertension if diagnosed. So I'm assured that now that you understand exactly what hypertension is, how to recognize it, how to treat it, that we can all cut back on the risk to heart disease, kidney disease, and even stroke.
Thank you, Kelly, for that very important information.